Hey guys, didn't mean to scare you. Sorry about that. So, if you've been following my channel from basically the beginning, you will remember seeing an epic desk video that I did. It was one of my first big videos, and it's got a bunch of X's on it. It's got some drawer pullouts. It's got an upper hutch. It was an epic desk. So, if you remember watching that, good. We're here to build another desk. If you don't remember that, check that video out because it was one of my first videos, and it was me learning a lot about. You know what? You don't care about that part. So let's move on. So we are going to be building another desk, and this desk is not for a regular client. Oh no, no, no! This is for my wife. So currently, me and her have been doing all of our officey type business stuff out of this. So I've been doing pressing shirts, designing shirts. She's been doing whatever women do type stuff. So we've been doing that on that whole setup, and it's time that we get a little better now. She has, in her defense, she's been asking me for about a year to make a desk for her. And women, I don't know what it is about you ladies, but if your man says, I'm going to build you a desk, don't remind me every 3-4 months and get all kind of crabby with me when I haven't built it. I'm doing it right now. I'm going to get to it. That's what we're here to do today. I'm going to build a desk. It's going to be a very simple desk. Now, as you can see from that footage I showed you, we do have these little movable pull-out drawery things that we've used, and it's where we keep a lot of vinyl and our cardstock, and I don't know what else she keeps in there. But we use those, so I'm going to utilize those, so I want to keep this as simple as possible. I want to keep it so simple that you guys could build it at home. So watch along, and we'll build this together. Let's get dusty! Okay, so before we start cutting some lumber, first of all, it is 85 degrees in the shop right now. It is super hot. Anyways, that's why I'm all glistening. So before we start cutting lumber, let me give you kind of like a cut sheet on what we're going to do. I will put all of the dimensions and everything actually in the description for you guys if you do want to build something like this. Now, I am using 2 sheets of 3/4 inch plywood. It's because I have it. You could use 1/2 inch if you wanted to. I'm using 3/4, and you could use 1 sheet if you wanted to. I'm using 2 because I'm going 30 inches deep. So if you want to use 1 sheet, go 24 inches deep, rip the sheet in half, and that will give you enough plywood for the top and the legs. This is going to be a 4-part table, top, legs, and then a center structure that will actually support the whole thing and keep it nice and sturdy. So I will I will post all of those dimensions in the description for you guys. I will try to run them through in the video. Without further ado, let's get in to cut some material. Using this circular saw over here, we bring over and we cut both leg panels out, and we head over to the table saw to rip the spine board for later on, and I rip all of the face boards down to 1.5 inches thick. Then we go over to the miter saw and start working on cutting those face boards with miters to run over for the top. Now right here, I do 1 miter, and then I mark the other side of the miter after I'm on. Now using a finish nailer, I nail the face boards on completely wrong. And we had to take everything back off and flip the board over because I had the top upside down. Once I finish crying about my mistake, I come over and I actually nail the faceboards on the correct way on the top. And once that's done, we bring back over the miter saw, cut some faceboards for the legs, and put those on. Now keep in mind when you put these on, they're going to be just a little bit smaller, and you'll have a little kind of tiny gap at the top, and you'll see why here in a second. Right there. So to be able to attach the legs to the table, what we're going to do is we're going to use this board right here. And what we're going to do is we went 1.5 inches on our face boards all the way around to make it so that when I add this board, it's going to be hidden because I went half the thickness of the plywood in this. So when it sits in, you won't see it. So to add this, you want to take the piece that has got that little notch right there, because that sits in there. And then you want to add this piece onto the side like this, and then I'm going to glue it and staple it and nail it, and then once I do it, I'm going to screw it. And now when I screw it, the screw heads will be hidden by the face piece on the top, so you won't see those. You don't have to fill those, but I want to screw it so it has a little more security to it, and then you'll use this board that you do to actually screw the legs to the top. You you want to make sure that you pre-drill your holes in that board that you just put on, that you're going to use to attach to the top, because if not, you will split this one by. Alright, so if you want to take this apart, which I'm going to have to take it apart to get it in my house, and I'm guessing you will too, do not glue this section right here, because we're going to take this apart later on. But right now we're just going to get this mocked up. I'm only going to use two 1 1/4 inch screws to hold this up so I can get everything back mocked into place before I take it all back apart. This back support is actually the most important piece of the desk. So what it's going to do is it's going to stabilize those legs. As you can see, these have a little wobble to them. So I did this. All is the same aspect of the way that attaching to the legs to the top. With that, pre-drill your holes out. And once you get it set in place, again, no glue. No glue if you want it to come back apart. Once you get it in place, you're going to sink your screws up the sides of the legs and all across the base, and that is going to tighten everything up, and that is going to get the desk completely assembled. And here we are. We have an 8-foot desk. Now this desk will break down into 4 pieces: the top, the 2 legs, and then that center spine. Now, being 8 foot long with no real support in the front, it does have some flex. So I wanted to keep it with the 1 1/2 inch face right here because of the fact that I had those rolling drawers I talked about, and they're going to fit on each side, and they're actually going to give me that support. If you're not going to have that, instead of 1 1/2 inch piece right here and on these sides, go 3 1/2 inches. I think that would be plenty, and then you'll be nice and supported. So at this point, this thing just needs to be puttied on all the nail holes, sanded, and then it's ready to go. So if you didn't glue it, it pulls apart into 4 pieces. Get it where you want, some screws, and it's good to go. So I'm gonna finish this thing up. Let's get into a putty party. That's terrible. Now that the whole thing is built, we're going to start off sanding with a low grit. I'm doing a 60 grit sand here. Now what you really got to do is you really got to find yourself a nephew who wants to be in your videos so that you can show him how to sand, and that takes a little bit of sanding off you, and he gets to be in the video. And then I finish it up with a 220 sand job to get the whole thing nice and smooth and ready for some paint. Speaking of paint, here I am slapping some more paint on there. I'm slapping some white on the spine and both of the legs, and then I'm going to stain the top with a dark walnut color like this right here. I think it's going to give me that two-toned color that I'm looking for. Now once you got it into the room you want, laying the top face down, everything slides together nice and smooth. Again, using 1 1/4 inch screws, put it all together, and then bust out your big old muscles and flip it around. Make sure you don't damage your floor, and drop it in place. Maybe wipe off a little bit of that dust, and maybe even model it for us a little bit. And whatever you do, don't forget that plug. After I had the desk all put up, I did add this leg right here. Now, I wasn't sure where this leg was going to end up landing, but after I put these little cabinet things in here, this is where it landed. So all I did was just take another piece of faceboard, like up here, and ran it up, and then I ended up just making a little L and screwing it once in here. Now, the only reason that I even had to do that was because, like I showed you guys, there was a lot of flex on this right here. And I thought the cabinets would be a little bit tighter. So there's got a couple options if you're doing this. One is don't go 8 feet, because there's a lot of room for that thing to sag. So if you go a little bit narrow or shorter, you won't have to go with another leg in the middle. But if you are going to go 8 feet, and if you're putting any kind of cabinets or filing cabinets, things like that here, is just build a spacer that fills this gap, and that'll actually work as your third leg. The other thing that you can do if you're not putting any cabinets under here and you don't want that leg is this baseboard right here. Like again, I said this earlier, is just go with a thicker board, probably 3 1/2 inch board. It's not going to interfere with you at all, and it'll keep it, from sagging, because this was fine, except for I'm afraid of after people getting up off of it all the time, eventually I think over time it would sag.
Oh, that looks nice. That looks real nice.
Okay guys, the simple desk is complete. Remember, I will have the cut list in the description below if you want to build one of these yourself. Because for as simple as it is, I think aesthetically it does look really nice, especially with the kind of the two-tone that I have going with the decor of my house. So you guys can mix that up to kind of match your house a little bit better. Now the top, there's 4 coats of a urethane that I put on there, and in between every coat, I will take a 220 and I will sand it very lightly, just to get all those little imperfections and debris off. And that last coat, you don't want to sand that. And that is how you finish the top. So this will work out really well in here. It was a very simple desk to make. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you guys learned how to do it. If you did, cool. I hope you guys go and build it. Tell me if you do in the comments below. If you like this video, thumbs up button. If you did not like this video, that same thumbs up button, if you turn your phone upside down and hit it really fast, it actually comes with a thumbs down button. So you can hit that way. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys on the next one. It's going a lot faster than I thought. You guys still here? Oh. Oh my gosh. I'm alright.